welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. My name is Naya and I make videos on life as an immigrant in the US. So today's video is gonna be about like one thing that a lot of immigrants are afraid of, and I'll actually say this is also a lot of Nigerians because I'm Nigerian and I can only speak to like what I've experienced and what my friends have experienced. So right? What is this thing that a lot of immigrants are afraid of while living abroad? Like what is this thing that scares every immigrant, like every Nigerian diaspora that you ask, they're afraid of this, and that is losing a family member while they are abroad, right? So you know, when I was younger, when I was like maybe 9, 10, 11, right, I used to hear my mom and her friends, they'll talk about like maybe how this person stayed like 10 years in the US and didn't come back. This person stayed 15 years. This person didn't come back for like the father's funeral, right? And in my head, I'm like, why would you stay in America? Like, you know, there's this thing we used to say when we're small, be like, God forbid that shit, God forbid, you know? And I used to say that, I'll be like, why would I, you know, be in America for 15 years and I never come back once to see my family? So when I was young, I'll be like, no, that can never happen. You know, if I go to America, I'm gonna be coming back like 4 or 5 times a year, like almost every month. I mean, of course, I was a kid, so that's what I was thinking, right? And again, the person that wears the shoes know where it hurts. It's very easy to be an outsider and you're looking on the outside and you're like, oh, why isn't this person coming back, when you don't really know their full story, right? So that's kind of like one thing that me personally, I've always been afraid of. And the two major reasons why immigrants, Nigerians really, are not really able to come back is because of immigration stuff and visa. Basically, that's actually one of the main reasons, right? Some other immigrants, like maybe if you're from Europe, it's easier for you to come back in some countries because your country has a great relationship with like the US. Nigeria and US's relationship is not really all that, so it kind of also affects Nigerian citizens. But yeah, personally, I never really thought I would be making a video like this because every morning I wake up, I'm like, God, keep my family, keep everyone in my family, keep my grandma, like keep every single person in my family. And I had an unexpected news, right? So basically for me, since March, my life hasn't really been going like smoothly, right? Like it's just been kind of like one trouble after the other. In March, I got like a decision from like the immigration that wasn't in favor of me. In April, I lost some amount of money. In May, I almost got shot, and then in June, I received the news that literally just shattered me. So and also this video is going to be long, so if you can't listen, it's okay, you can click out of it. On Monday, June 6th, I got sick, right? Like the whole of May, me and my team at work, we had been on a time crunch, so like it was like everyone was putting in extra hours, everyone was working on weekends, like it was just a lot, right? So by June, I was very tired. I think my body was kind of like just, I guess, giving up at that point. So June 6th, I woke up like I had a very bad pain here, right? Kind of like beneath my ear. And my sister is a doctor and a nurse, like she has the 2 degrees. Let's not talk about how she likes books, but yeah. So I called my sister immediately. I'm like, I don't know, I'm in so much pain, I can't even sleep, right? I'm like, I can't even sleep. So I had to message my work that morning. I was like, I can't work, I can't sleep, I haven't gotten any sleep, I have to take the day off, right? So I took the day off, I went to the hospital. That same day, while I was on a call with my sister, because I was on a call with my sister at night, it was like, I think 4 a.m. US time, which is like 9, 10 a.m. Nigerian time, right? So I was on a call with her and I was kind of like telling her how intense the pain was, right? And she was, you know, she told me I have to go because she, again, like I said, she's a doctor, so she was kind of like trying to, I guess, virtual examine me and then try to figure out what the problem was. Then she told me I have to see a doctor, right? So while we were on a call that Monday, my mom called my sister while I was on a call with my sister, and my mom told my sister that my grandma, that's my mom's mom, had a stroke. So, you know, my sister told me that. In my head, I'm like, God forbid, like what caused it? The thing is, my grandma have had a stroke before, 8 years ago. I was actually the person with her when she had that stroke, but she got so much better, no residual effect. Like my grandma is very strong, right? She walks to the market by herself, she does things by herself, she cooks by herself. So it's kind of like, you know, in my head I was like, oh yeah, she'll bounce back, right? But every day we'll still ask my mom, oh, how is it going? So that day I went to the hospital, right? The next day, Tuesday, now my mom is like, my mom pets me a lot, right? I'm the last, so I'm like my mom's baby. So like whenever I'm sick, my mom is always on the call with me. But that period, you know, she wasn't really on a call, which makes sense because my grandma had just had a stroke and my mom had gone to see my grandma. So my grandma had a stroke on Monday. My mom had gone to see my grandma on Sunday, right? Which, and the stroke was unexpected. So it was kind of like she just came and then boom, the stroke happened, right? So on Tuesday, then I went to the hospital, right? On Monday, it was, oh no, I went to the hospital on Monday, right? Because I was very sick and everything. And then I went to the doctor. The doctor told me that they actually thought it was COVID, right? Because I was weak as hell, but they tested me for COVID. I tested negative, and she was like, okay, it's probably like some kind of flu. And then she put me on some medications and everything. So by Tuesday, my mom still hadn't called me. Like, you know, in my head, I'm like, why is this woman not calling me? But it makes sense because my grandma was sick, right? Then, you know, me and my sister will still talk. Like, my sister is taking some exams. We're talking all the time and everything. Then on Thursday, right, my grandma had this, I guess my mom's cousin. She's all grown now, right? But when she was young, when she was like maybe 11, she came to live with my grandma, and she lived with my grandma till she got married. So on Thursday, she posted my grandma's video, right? Like a video of my grandma where she was, you know, laughing and smiling and everything. And in my head, I'm like, why is my aunt, that's my mom's cousin, why is she posting this video? Like, people don't really post videos except maybe they're celebrating your birthday, or they're celebrating like, or it's like, oh, gone too soon, you know. But I then asked my mom, how is grandma? She's like, she's fine. So I'm like, okay, cool. Because again, I asked my mom, and I was asking my mom every day. She's like, yeah, mama is doing well and everything, right? So on Friday, that is, it was basically Saturday morning, right? It was like Friday night, Saturday, because me and my sister, we gossip a lot. Like, she's my closest confidant and everything, right? So we were just on a call talking that day, and actually me and my sister's boyfriend and her had gone on like a three-way video call, right? We had finished talking. Then me and there was this dude I was, you know, talking to. Me and him had also talked. Then I mean, I couldn't sleep, so I called my sister back and we started gossiping, right? So as we were talking, I said, okay, I need to sleep because I have things to do. I know it's Saturday, but I have things to do. She said, okay, as I'm going to bed, I don't know why I just checked WhatsApp. And then I looked at my uncle's status, and what was there got me shaking. On his status, he had something like, go well, aloha, you'll be missed, mom, something like that. I'm like, wait, what? So at this point, my hands are shaking because remember, I had asked my mom the previous day, how is grandma? When I had seen my aunt's status, I was like, how is grandma? She said she's fine. So at that point, I'm shaking, right? I'm like talking to my sister. I'm like, hey, have you seen Uncle Alex's status? She's like, what's going on Uncle Alex's status? I'm like, go and check it. She couldn't check it, so she said I should send her a screenshot of it. I sent her a screenshot of it. She was like, you know, she kind of like pretended. She was like, So I'm like, what's going on? She said, that she doesn't know. Now I was like, call mommy. She's like, she can't call, right? So I'm like, okay, I have to get off this call, and call mom. So I'm calling my mom, I'm giving my mom 10 missed calls. I call my mom, my mom doesn't pick. I give my mom 10 missed calls before she finally picks. And then I'm like, mommy, like, you know, I just talk normally. I'm like, oh, how are you? And my mom is talking normally, right? So I'm really confused because my mom and my grandma are very close. Like, every time my mom is like, I'm going to see my mom. Every single time, like, my mom is like, I'm going to see my mom, because we live in a different state from my grandma, but it's only like maybe 2 hours drive. So every single time my mom will be like, I have to go see my mom. Oh, I have to go see my mom. Like, she and my grandma are very, very close. So at that point, my mom is, you know, speaking normally. So I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm not really hearing like her crying or whatever. So after like, you know, pleasantries and everything, I'm like, mommy, what about grandma? She didn't say anything. Then she was like, I want you to guard your heart. I want you to you know that you're the only one here. No one is going to protect you. No one is going to help you when you're crying. No one is going to say sorry to you. Like, she just goes on and on about how I should be strong. I didn't really get the rest of the things she said, but I just knew the answer because I had seen it from my uncle's status. I just needed to hear from my mom. I was just begging God. I was like, God, please, let it be that my uncle is talking about like somebody else, right? You know how you can call another woman like your mom, right? I was like, God, please. But, you know, as my mom is saying all of those things, I'm just hearing a sound, like I'm just hearing someone screaming and shouting. It took me a few minutes before I realized it was me. And I'm like throwing things. I honestly, I really have no idea, because I know I was screaming. I know my mom was saying like, calm down, like sorry. I really am not very sure what really happened. But then I heard my mom talking to someone else, because I think the person was like, who is that? And my mom said, Ken, basically the baby, right? Like that's me, like the baby of the house. So I'm like screaming, and I hear that, and then I think my mom says she has to go, she's gonna call me back or something. So at that point, I'm shaking, I'm panicking, I'm just like, I really have no idea how, like what really happened that day, right? I think that time was around like 4:20, 4:30, right? So I I go to the living room, because this was happening in my room. I couldn't stay in my room anymore. I go to the living room. I'm trying to sit. I can't sit. I lie down. As I lie down, because again, I hadn't slept, right? I hadn't slept since like Friday, right? So I was like, okay, I need to sleep. And I had a work that I needed to do for a client. I had like some writings to do, right? So the writing was due like that day, like Saturday by 11:59, right? So I'm just like, oh my God, like what is going on, right? I tried to sleep, and I wake up. I didn't know it was actually panic attack that I was having. It was until I spoke with my friend that my friend told me that what was happening to me was panic attack. So I tried to sleep, but I would jump up from like the sofa, because I was in the living room at this point. I would jump up from the sofa. My heart is racing. I'm gasping for air. I'm hyperventilating. I can't sleep. And then I start screaming, and then I start crying, right? So as that is happening, I then go outside, because I felt like I was choking in the house. Like I couldn't really concentrate while I was in the house. I felt like I was choking and I couldn't breathe. I went outside my apartment, and then I started walking around. At this point, I think this was around maybe 5 a.m. now. So I called my friend, my friend Favor. She, like, I have done some couple of videos with her. If you guys go back to my old videos, I call her because she's like my closest friend, right? I call her, she didn't pick. I call another friend of mine, China, she didn't pick. I called the two of them like immediately. Then I called, remember the guy I told you guys that like I was talking to? I called him, he didn't pick. I called another friend, and then the friend picks, because at that point I just needed to talk to someone that wasn't my family. Like I just wanted to talk to someone that was in the States with me, right? At that point, right? So I called another friend, because at this point I had called 3 people, they didn't pick. Again, remember this was at 5 a.m. in the morning. I didn't call another friend who also lived in Georgia with me, right? So he was like, where are you now? I think that was what he said. And then me, I was just walking around the neighborhood. I didn't even know where I was. Like I know that I wasn't safe, especially being a black girl, but I didn't care at that point. Like I didn't care about safety. I just needed some fresh air, or I swear I was gonna lose it, right? So he was like, I needed to get back into your house. And then he said he's at work at that point. He said he had like some football game around 10 a.m. but he was gonna cancel it and then come up, because I just needed to go. Like I just needed to leave my apartment, I just wanted to get out. You know how you just want to escape from your body? I wanted to escape from my body, but I couldn't escape from my body, and the only thing I could escape from was like my apartment. So he said he was gonna come in the morning. He said if he doesn't come around like 10, if he doesn't cancel his like soccer game, he was gonna come around like 2 p.m. sorry. So I said okay, sure, no problem, because at that point I was like, yeah, he didn't come, but yeah, that was fine. But then I think then, okay, then he kind of like calmed me down. I was like, okay, go in. Now at this point, everyone in my family is calling me. My uncles, my mom's brothers, like every single person, my own siblings, everyone is calling me, because they couldn't reach me, because my mom had told them that I was taking the news very hard. They couldn't reach me, and you know, they were trying to make sure that I didn't like hurt myself or harm myself, because they know that like when it comes to family, I'm quite attached. Like my siblings, at least my brother, he can like, you know, detach himself, not like detach per se, but he can like, you know, handle his emotion. For me, I just couldn't, right? And they know like how emotional I can get when it comes to family. So everyone was trying to reach me. They called but on WhatsApp, they called on normal call. My uncle left voicemails. I didn't even, so I had my phone at that point, but everything was just, it was going to like, my phone was on do not disturb, so everything was just like going to voicemail by itself, right? It was just like hanging their calls by itself. So as I finished walking around the neighborhood, I didn't come back in around 6 a.m. I tried to sleep, I couldn't sleep. I think I waited till 7. I still tried to sleep, I couldn't sleep. Then I started writing the work for my clients. After I had written some, I think it was around 10 that I finally was able to get some sleep. From 10 to 12, I slept, and then 12 I jumped up again, hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. I'm like that's just how I was breathing, like I'm breathing in and out from my mouth. My nose, it was like my nose wasn't working. So luckily for me, my the person I told you guys I was talking to, he came over, right? And like he just, that whole day I really don't know what happened. I just know that, you know, he was trying to calm me down, and I kind of got better, right? So, you know, he was just telling me it's gonna be fine, like, you know, try and hold yourself. And I am really grateful for that, honestly, because I'm not sure what would have happened. Like, I'm not sure if I would have done anything to myself at that point, because it was really, like, it was just really bad. So that's kind of like the story. So my grandma passed on, I think it was Thursday night, either Thursday night or Friday morning, but I didn't hear the news. Like, I didn't see it till Saturday. Actually, the only reason why I got to know was because my uncle posted it on his status. If he didn't post it, no one was gonna tell me. My mom had told everyone not to tell me, because she was like, she knows how I am, she knows, you know, how like emotionally attached I am to family and everything. So basically, the reason why I told the story is, this is what immigrants are afraid of. A lot of immigrants are really scared of, you know, staying here and then hearing the news that, oh, this person died. My grandma's funeral is going to be coming up. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to travel just because of some reasons. And it hurts. Like, it really hurts so bad. I haven't seen her for 8 years. The last time I saw her was when I went to her house to take SAT, right? So it's like, I haven't seen her for 8 years. Last year, my whole family had a reunion, like my mom's side of the family. Everyone came back. All my uncles came back from all the countries they were in. All my cousins came back. Like, everyone came back. There was just this huge reunion. My siblings and their spouses came back. My grandma was there. My grandma, so my mom is actually a grandma, right? My grandma was there so my grandma is a great grandma, right? My grandma was there, you know, they had this picture, but I wasn't there. So even though like no one knew she was actually gonna pass 6 months later, because again, like I said, she's very strong. Like, she does everything by herself. She cooks by herself. She pounds things by herself, right? Even though no one knew, they all had a chance to see her for the last time. I hadn't seen her. The only thing I ever did, like last year, when they all went over, was just to get on a video call with her, and I was talking to her, and she was like, you know, Massim, because that's what she calls me. And then we basically just, you know, kind of like talked. She doesn't really know how to use one that much, even though she has like 3 phones, but she doesn't really know how to use it that much. So that's something that a lot of, you know, immigrants, Nigerians in diaspora are really scared of, because the Nigerian system has made it so hard for you to have a good life in Nigeria. Like, a lot of Nigerians are living in abject poverty, and most people, the way they can, you know, escape from that is living abroad. And now when you live abroad, you want to make like a life for yourself in abroad before you're able to come back, plus also visa problems, immigration problems, all of those things. So it's kind of like, we have to, like, this is our greatest fear. I haven't seen her for 8 years, and I am never gonna see her again. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to her funeral. I really want to go, but knowing my situation and knowing everything that is like, you know, going on right now, I don't think I'll be able to go. So that's kind of like the greatest fear of immigrants. I know we don't really talk about things like this that much, but I kind of just wanted to shed a light on it, because I know a lot of people are trying to leave, you know, from Nigeria, Ghana. I have all of you contacting me, Nigeria, Ghana, like, you know, from Ethiopia, and asking me how to get into Berea, how to get into all of their schools. Even as you're trying to leave your country, just bear in mind that you might not see your family for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Some people 10 years. If you're Nigerian, it's much harder, because we know that like a lot of countries don't even value like the Nigerian passports, because our leaders have just, you know, messed the country up. But yeah, that's kind of like the end of this video. If you guys want a part 2 of how everything is going, you just let me know. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I don't even know if I'm in the mental space to be able to do that or talk about it, but I had to make this video to let you guys know, people that are trying to leave to come to like the US and Canada, the reality of it and how things might go, you know. But yes, don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and I will see you guys in another video.